Hey guys, a little update on the Super XL automatic. Gonna try to make it quick. I got everything cleaned up. Squish on it, like I said, is really loose. You know, doing machine work's not gonna help. You'd have some massive free porting. A little bit on the Reed engine's fine. You can tune around it. It's not gonna hurt a thing. As to where on a piston ported where you're intake port and exhaust port would be open at the same time. I've seen some guys do it and tune around it, but it's usually on really high strung saws. But in most cases, it's going to be a nightmare to tune. But with that said, here on this, you would have to go so far that it would just run really bad in my opinion. But exhaust port and transfers are identical to the one Smitty done. So with the base gasket delete, they open, exhaust opens 105, transfers 121, 16 degrees of blow down. I'm fine and dandy with that. A base gasket delete, a timing advance on the ignition, and a muffler mod, this saw would be a different animal. The exhaust roof dropping a couple of degrees and decreasing squish by 30 thousandths, and it has a big thick base gasket around 30 thousandths thick. The phone's even picking up how thick it is. So I was going to pick up compression. It was wore out, piston scored, still made 130 psi. So this thing with the new rings I've got is probably looking at upwards of 150 psi even with squish that loose. And a lot of that has to do it has a true domed piston. They're different than a pop-up. These are actually better than a pop-up piston. It even has if we can get some light in here, if the phone will do its job. There we go. And if you got something dark on your phone, you can usually touch where it's at, and it should change the exposure. Or if you have a touch screen digital camera, it should do the same. But it don't have a squish band like a more modern saw and like a golf ball or D chamber. It's just more of a flat domed, well, not flat, but a domed concave combustion chamber. Now this is going to help with compression. It's probably nowhere near as efficient as the newer, more modern designs, but it's what we have to work with here. The transfers will gain a little bit there. I'm going to do like Smitty done in his video. We'll lay the gasket on. The other cylinder actually had carbon starting to build up, like a wash pattern there. So, that showed me that it will help definitely with the airflow into the transfers. We'll do that. There's not a lot I can do with the rest of it. Can't really widen the exhaust port much. There's the plating kind of overhangs into the port a little bit, so it's so minimal. I'm going to take a flat file and blend it in and go back the cartridge roll and work it, but we might gain a millimeter total in width on the whole, both ports, or the whole entire bridged port. As you can see, they hug that transfer super close. So there ain't a lot of room for error there, but the main thing I'm going to do with this, I think that's going to wake it up more than anything, is this piston really has an advantage, and then again, it's not that great either. The locating pins for the rings are centered, but they are staggered at least a little bit. It's very minimal that they're staggered. We're going to cut a couple boost ports into this. That'll wake it up a lot on its own. That's my main goal for the cylinder, is boost ports, work the lowers a little bit, or work the transfers a little, widen the exhaust port what little we can. I'm not going to touch the roof of it. I'd rather keep that static compression. I know some people are going to cringe on that, but a lot of the wood here we cut, you've seen, is hickory, locust, oak. Softest thing we get into is poplar, and it's classified as a hardwood, believe it or not, or here in this region it is. So we're going to leave our roof alone. I've got some pretty high riven saws with 104, 105 degree exhaust ports. 150 degrees of duration's fine. It may move it half a degree with the cleanup and polish, but that'll be fine and dandy. One other area I see room for improvement is here, which I'll have to clean which I'll do most of this coarse cartridge roll anyway. We're going to go in and open this up, not drastically, but I'm going to smooth some of these sharp angles out. I don't really like them, and get a nice, about a 60 grit texture all the way down into that. This one I'm gonna completely rebuild eventually, and you know, I'll have the crank out and everything, and we can kind of go crazy with this one. But it'll be a while. This cylinder will clean up and is reusable, but it'll be something way on down the road. Right now, I'm just wanting to get one together as an experiment to play with. But that's the game plan. Widen the exhaust what little bit we can, polish it, open up our lowers to where they'll breathe a little better, or our transfers rather, it technically don't have a lower. Throw some boost ports in it, throw some ignition timing at it, and I'll probably actually put a degree wheel on it once the saw's about all the way together. Kind of put the flywheel on last, and I think the books show these things have about 30 degrees of a total timing. You know, we'll squish that loose. I think we get 34, 36 degrees out of it. I always run high octane fuel anyway, so it doesn't matter. And, you know, figure out what we can do with the muffler to make it breathe a little better. And, you know, I think this thing will come to life, but, you know, it may fool me and be a dog, but, you know, there's the game plan. I know some people are going to say raise the exhaust roof, but, you know, if we had some more compression than we do, by all means, you know, I'd raise it a few degrees, but, you know, we don't have a lot to start with, and, you know, cookie cutters are fine and all, you know, fine and dandy, but I'd rather keep that torque. But as always, you guys stay warm, stay safe, and y'all have a good one.